Hi everyone, it's Ai Momozaki, but you can just call me Momo. With 2026 around the corner and the winter Steam sale ongoing, a lot of streamers are probably wondering, what should I play in 2026 if I'm looking to hold an audience? It can be really hard to find a good game that's entertaining and can hold an audience, but thankfully I have some recommendations. The first part of this video covers 5 games already out that you can likely grab at a discount during the 2025 Steam Winter Sale, and the second part looks ahead to new releases coming in 2026. The first game on our list of games that are already out is the Stanley Parable. I'll be the first to admit that dry British humor isn't everyone's thing, but the Stanley Parable is beloved by so many people with really good reason. At first blush, this feels like a walking sim where you're simulating the everyday life of an employee at a company, but it's so much more than that. Your choices matter in this game, and the more you play it, the more you realize how everything is just a little to the left of normal. Don't worry, I won't talk more about it because I don't want to spoil your experience, and this is a game that you'll definitely want to experience if you haven't already. This is a game that is relatively short and sweet, where some endings are available in under 10 minutes with a full run-through of the game for most endings taking about 3 hours on average. This is a great choice for a fun stream where you don't have a sizable story to catch your audience up on if they join partway through, like via a raid. In terms of playtime, you can complete the main story in between 2 to 4 hours, but it could take up to 15 hours for full completion of Steam achievements in the Ultra Deluxe version. Just be warned that one Steam achievement takes 5 literal years to complete, which is either hilarious or an act of psychological warfare, depending on your sense of humor. For a price point, the ultra premium version of this game is usually $24.99 Freedom Bucks, but the winter sale takes this game down to $9.99 US. That's not bad at all. The next game on our list is Detroit Become Human. This is a game that I love, but it's a game that isn't for the faint of heart, and I wouldn't recommend this game to anyone underneath the age of 18 or the age of majority in your country. If you're anywhere on the internet right now, you've probably seen the absolute onslaught of AI content, which is becoming more and more rampant in all forms of media. Detroit Become Human is a game that in many ways is a commentary on AI, and what makes someone human or inhuman. Detroit Become Human is set in a revitalized version of Detroit in the year 2038, where most household tasks are performed by androids who have artificial intelligence. This game bounces around from 3 different perspectives: Kara, Connor, and Marcus. It has multiple endings, is a deeply personal experience, and explores difficult topics like AI automation, efficiency versus humanity, and the morality of technology. In many ways, Detroit Become Human is a mirror held up to humanity, showing us our values as society, which encourages chat discussion and audience engagement. In this game, all of your choices really do matter, which is why I think it's such a great game to play on stream, because every playthrough feels really different based on the choices each person makes. This means that there's hundreds of variations to the dozens of major endings to the game. While this game isn't for everyone, I think that it's one of the most haunting games that I've ever played, and it's a game that I regularly think about. In terms of playtime, the main story can be completed in about 15 hours, but for all major endings, you're probably looking at over 30 hours of gameplay. And normally this game is $39.99, but during this winter sale, it's on sale for $3.99. Please be advised that this game is disturbing and touches on dark themes, and viewer discretion is advised. Luto is a horror game that is fundamentally about loss and coping with grief. A lot of horror games play with the ideas of grief and loss and make you question the reliability of the narrator's voice. But the way Luto tackles this is different. Instead of making you wonder if the narrator is reliable from the very start of the game, you can see that the narrator is struggling with grief, but it's not clear to you whether that's tied up in survivor's guilt, severe anxiety, or something darker. In Luto, you are trapped in some sort of liminal space with ghosts who interact with the environment around you. Something about it feels very dreamlike, where you aren't entirely sure what is real and what's really happening. I think Luto is one of the most unique games on this list, and while it is a horror game that absolutely terrified me, I think that Luto has one of the best narratives in a horror game that I've ever seen. This is another game that I wouldn't recommend to anyone younger than 18. Please be advised that this game does come with trigger warnings and does talk about depression, anxiety, suicide, death, and trauma. So please only consider playing this game if you have the emotional capacity to do so. I'm recommending Luto for streamers because it is short, full of twists and turns, and because the reactions and theories from chat genuinely enhance the experience. It's a game that is best played with an audience or with a friend nearby. In terms of playtime, Luto can run from as little as 3 hours up to 7 hours, depending on how quickly you solve the puzzles presented to you in the game. It can also run longer than that if you need breaks while you play, which is a very common thing that people experience. In terms of a price point, this game is normally $19.99, but it's discounted to $15.99 for the Steam Winter Sale. Number 4 on our list of games to play in 2026 is Lies of P. As a Souls-like fan myself, and as someone who enjoys punishing but fair combat, I can't help but recommend Lies of P. This is a fantastic game where you play through an alternate universe version of the fairy tale Pinocchio. Set in the Belle Epoque period in the late 1800s in a fictional city called Krot, Lies of P is a Souls-like game where you're trying to save a city undergoing an apocalypse. There's chaos in the streets, an illness in the air, puppets gone mad, and a puppet master orchestrating the fall of Krot. You play as Pinocchio and fight your way through the city, trying to uncover the truth of who is behind all of this and put the puppet rebellion to rest. This game just came out with the DLC, but now that it's been out a little while, you'll be able to play this game and appeal to the fandoms of Lies of P. This is a difficult game with a strong focus on not just guarding, but parrying as well. I highly recommend this game for anyone who likes the challenge of a Souls-like game, especially if you're someone who enjoyed Sekiro's emphasis on precise timing as opposed to pure defensive strategies. Another huge plus for this game is the visuals. It's absolutely beautiful, and the music that goes with the game, which has a purpose in terms of the game mechanics, is an absolute work of art. I think that the developers did a fantastic job of depicting the Belle Epoque period's unique architecture and art styles. In terms of playtime, Lies of P is a much longer game than any of the other games I've recommended so far, with the main story taking about 30 hours and Overture adding about 20 more. As a completionist, you could be looking at about 70 hours of gameplay, which isn't bad for the price point. This game is normally $59.99 for the base game, but right now it's on sale for 50% off, bringing it to $29.99. The last game on this list is Subnautica. Did you know that an estimated 35% of planets in the Goldilocks zone of their respective suns are water worlds? It's true, and I think that makes a game like Subnautica eerily plausible. Most people who game have heard of Subnautica, which is an open-world survival game. Subnautica features Riley as the main character and follows his journey on 4546b after his ship crash lands. You have to build everything that you need to survive in this giant world, and not all of the wildlife that you see is friendly. Subnautica 2 is just around the corner, which means that it's time to play this game if you haven't already. Subnautica is famous for its gorgeous visual design, amazing music, and fantastic story. So whether it's your first time playing it or you're going to give it a replay, your audience is in for a great time, and possibly some Reaper Leviathan jump scares. The best part about this game is that you're in for some real treats and jump scares. There's definitely not footage of me freaking out while playing this. Nope, not a single short. Not like the same exact art style or anything, but just like, oh my god! No! Oh, whoops. Alright. Uh-oh. Ah! In terms of playtime, a casual playthrough will be between 30 and 40 hours, with completionist runs taking about 50. If you knew what you were doing and have played before, you should be able to get through the story in about half of that time. For a price point, we're looking at $29.99 now, but with the Steam Winter Sale ongoing, this is now priced down to $7.49. If you're looking for games that are affordable, stream-friendly, and tried and true, please give these 5 games a chance. With the Steam Winter Sale ongoing, you could be getting about 97 hours of gameplay, but possibly over 100 hours for just $67 US plus tax. For me personally, when I stream games, I'd say games take me about 1.5 times as long to play through. So factoring that in, you're probably going to get about 150 stream hours out of this, but your mileage may vary depending on how much you interact with chat. There's also the possibility of doing challenge runs or modded runs in Lies of P and Subnautica, which could further extend your gameplay, making this a really great value. First on our list for new games coming out in 2026 that you should play is Pragmata. This is a new game that's coming out in 2026, and it's going to be a third-person sci-fi action and adventure game featuring humans and androids. This is set in the near future and is slated for release on April 24th, 2026. It takes place in a deserted lunar research facility. The two main characters are Hugh, who is human, and his android companion, Deanna. This game looks to be absolutely gorgeous, full of puzzles and interesting combat mechanics, which look to be a mix of real-time combat and some sort of hacking minigame. Stellar Blade had a similar aesthetic feel to the universe, and I love that game, so I have really high hopes for this one as well. I think this will be a fun action adventure that will pack an emotional punch, and that's why I'm recommending it as a great stream game. That being said, the graphics may be demanding on your computer, so this may be one that is better played on the PS5 and streamed via capture card. Next on the list is Phantom Blade Zero. Maybe it's my love of Sekiro talking here, but I'm very excited to see this game come out. The trailer is very promising, and the release date was listed as September 9th, 2026. This game is not currently classified as a Souls-like game despite the combat appearance of the game, and is instead an action RPG with difficult combat. Maybe the line between Souls-like and not is getting a little bit gray these days, but I love any game that features parrying as a mechanic. Based on the trailer, Phantom Blade looks to be something between Sekiro, Stellar Blade, and Devil May Cry, with a focus on combo-based combat. The story looks to have horror elements similar to most Souls-like games. This is probably one of my most anticipated releases of 2026, and it's a game that I can't wait to try. Be advised though, there will probably be a lot of people playing this upon release, so I recommend waiting a few weeks after release before streaming if you're looking to stand out from the crowd while playing this one. Probably one of the most hyped games of 2026 is Resident Evil Requiem, and as a horror streamer, I'd be really remiss if I didn't include it on my list. Resident Evil is a beloved horror franchise which got its start in 1996 on the PlayStation, which was the beginning, as we know it, of the survival horror genre. In recent years, we've seen remakes of some beloved Resident Evil games, such as the remakes of Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, and even more recently, Resident Evil 4. The fans have been excited to see where the franchise would go next and what game would come out. Cue Resident Evil Requiem. In this game, you can play as Grace Ashcroft or as Leon S. Kennedy, a fan favorite character in the series. Grace Ashcroft is an FBI agent who is the daughter of an obscure character in the Resident Evil universe, Alyssa Ashcroft, who is a reporter character in a small game called Resident Evil Outbreak. This game, like all early Resident Evil games, features a connection with the Umbrella Corporation, who is the primary antagonistic corporation in Resident Evil 0 through Resident Evil 3. That means that we're going back to Raccoon City, where the zombie plague, T-virus, was first released. I am very excited to see what that comeback means for Grace and for Leon. Resident Evil 9/Resident Evil Requiem will be released on February 27th, 2026. I recommend this game to anyone who likes Resident Evil or anyone who is looking to get into the series for the first time. If you play it on stream, I promise you won't be disappointed. Resident Evil has a die-hard fan community, which is very, very active on Twitch. The next game on our list is Mio, Memories in Orbit. This is an absolutely beautiful game that oddly gives me Hi-Fi Rush vibes in terms of aesthetics. Mio is a Metroidvania game with Souls-like and platforming elements. In this game, you're going to be playing as an adorable robot-like creature, and the gameplay looks reminiscent of Gris, crossed with Hollow Knight and Nine Souls. As a fan of Celeste and Hollow Knight, this one has been on my radar for a while, but I also just love games that have unique art styles, and this one more than qualifies. We're going to have to see how it plays when it comes out, but the trailer itself is certainly promising. This is one that I would recommend to Souls-like and platforming enthusiasts, so fans of Hollow Knight, Celeste, and Super Meat Boy probably won't be disappointed with this title. Mio releases on January 20th, 2026 for the PC, PS5, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, and Xbox. Last but not least on our list is Witchbrook. This is a game that I've been looking forward to for a long time. Witchbrook was a game that was originally slated for release in 2025, but then slipped into 2026. This is a game that feels like Stardew Valley crossed with Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. In this game, you join the town of Mossport and attend the local college while managing your business. This game is a cozy game in a similar aesthetic style to Stardew Valley, but looks to be a happy, cozy game about finding your place in the world and discovering wonder, making friends, and falling in love along the way. I usually don't play a lot of cozy games, but this is one that I've been looking forward to for literal years, and I can't wait for it to be released. I'm recommending it as a stream game based upon the sheer popularity of Stardew Valley, which as of December 17th, 2025 is ranked number 150 on the game list on Twitch Tracker. Not bad for a game that was released in 2016. I think Witchbrook is larger in scope than a lot of cozy games, and that shows in the development time. This game was first teased in 2016, and its development was paused while Chucklefish supported the development of Starbound. It's worth noting that Chucklefish was the publisher behind Risk of Rain, Stardew Valley, and Wild Frost, in addition to developing Starbound and the Wargroove series. I'm a huge fan of the games that Chucklefish developed, and I'm excited to see what they bring to the table with Witchbrook. This will be available on Steam and the Nintendo Switch at the very least, and is slated to be published sometime in 2026. Those are all the games that I'd recommend playing in 2026. Let me know which of these titles you're going to play down in the comment section below. If you liked this content and want to see more content like it, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to eat something, drink some water, and take care of yourselves. Bye!